Hello there, everybody. Happy Sunday evening to you. Happy end to a Thanksgiving weekend. It's meteorologist Matt Wins. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. A little bit late getting on the show here tonight. We had some family over, had a nice Thanksgiving meal with my side of the family. So the kids really late getting to bed tonight, so I'm late getting to the show. But it's a wonderful weekend. We had a nice, relaxing weekend. Not get any sleep, but spend time with family, which was obviously the most important thing for Thanksgiving. So hope you guys got to do the same. Weather-wise, boy, we have some snow outside. It wasn't a big deal, was it? I saw a lot of hype with this on social, and maybe I'm looking at the wrong things, but a lot of different, it's interesting, a lot of on my personal Facebook feed for region weather, a lot of different weather sources pop up and go in the feed. And I'm reading this stuff and I got scared. So Friday night, no, it was Saturday night. Saturday night, I did the update, the video update for you guys. And I always do my own forecasting. All right. And so I was doing my own forecasting on it. And, I thought in my mind how I thought this would play out, right, with the snow. And I was reading some of these other sites, and, some are more popular than others. And I got a little scared because they're talking about this big band of snow that was going to develop. And, we could see 1 to 2 inch snowfall rates per hour. And I had to go back and check my forecast because I'm like, am I underplaying the snow today? And I didn't change it. And, I was a little bit sweaty about it because I kind of saw what they're talking about, but it really didn't stick out to me as something that was going to happen. Anyway, long story short, I'm proud of the forecast because we stuck with this isn't going to be a big deal, right? And it wasn't a big deal today. We had flakes flying. There wasn't much accumulation out of it. It fell during the day as well. If that snow today fell at night, we'd probably end up with an inch or two. But overall, again, no big problem. So tricky forecast this weekend. That's kind of a behind the scenes of what what I was dealing with the forecasting, but that's kind of how it went. So hope you guys are doing okay. In terms of the weather here tonight, it's going to get cold. So we're going to talk about the cold because temperatures are going way below average next couple of days. It's going to feel like January really on Monday and Tuesday, and then we bounce out of it. And as we always do in these Sunday night shows, I want to look ahead 10, 15 days or so. Let's look for the next snowstorm. Is there a pattern change? What are we doing as we get closer and closer to Christmas here? I've got forecast models that go all the way through mid-December, so we can look at those as we get into the forecast here. As always, want to thank our sponsors. TigerPlumbing.net is the place to go. They just added, Tiger Plumbing did, you can book appointments online. That's a big deal for a small business, right? This is a local business. This isn't your huge plumbing service that's nationwide. This is a local family-owned business with wonderful people. You guys all have rave reviews about them, but you can now book appointments online with them. It's real easy. You go to tigerplumbing.net and you'll see the little book now. All the customers have had rave reviews about that, they tell me. So that's good news. So tigerplumbing.net, they come out for free, which is just awesome. They'll analyze any problem you've got. PSAs are public service adjusters here in Northwest Indiana. Again, licensed, insured, all local. If you have any insurance claims whatsoever, as we get into icy season, someone slips on your sidewalk, you've got an insurance problem, whatever that happens to be. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I just thought of the most random thing. Pipe bursts in your house and you've got water everywhere, whatever that happens to be. If it's an insurance claim, go to public service adjusters. They will take the claim from start to finish. You don't have to deal with any of it, and they'll get you more money by the end of it from your insurance company. They fight on behalf of you, which is awesome. Publicserviceadjusting.com is the place to go. St. Jude House is our nonprofit. We want to thank them for all the wonderful work they do in Northwest Indiana around the topic of domestic violence. It's not a pretty issue, right? But they are taking care of people every single week. Even Thanksgiving week, they took care of a bunch of people that needed some help. It's a very common issue. It's not something we talk about. But if you or someone need help around the issue of domestic violence, it's not always physical. It can be financial, verbal, whatever it happens to be. But if you are seeking help, it's stjudehouse.org. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Get your next Chrysler Dodge Jeep or Ram at Grieger's, which is US 30 in Valpo area. They have a new line of Jeeps on the lot. It's been out there for a couple months now. They're wonderful. And they've got 4-wheel drive, which we'll start to need here soon. Finally, Ewing Mechanical Services. If you have anything you need relating to furnace, which gets important this time of year, they have some great Black Friday specials I saw on there. Those go through the end of the month, which is great. It's ewingmech.com for all of your furnace and indoor environment needs. Another wonderful family-owned business here in Northwest Indiana. Can I just, and I'm going to make this real quick because I want to get to the forecast here. Black Friday deals, first of all, the emails, I get so mad at them. All right. And it happens every year. First of all, Black Friday starts in October, all right, for these emails. And then they say final hours, last call, all this stuff. And you know they're lying. And then the next day you get an email that says, oh, we've extended it, or this is the last of this. And then Monday it's some better deal. I'm so angry at Black Friday deals via email and the headlines that they use. And I think that plays along with region weather. I hate weather headlines that are so earth shatteringly. This is apocalyptic. All of that just drives me nuts. And so that is kind of the birth of region weather. If I could birth a Black Friday deal, it would not be hyper local, crazy, this is as far as it goes kind of deal. It would be something real basic and we wouldn't have any business, but that's it. Anyway. All right. I'm done talking. Sorry about that, everybody. Here's what we're dealing with. Let me say hi. First of all, we've got, good crowd here tonight. That's good. Mary's with us. Hi, Mary. Mark's with us. Jeff, good evening to you. Don Z's on our YouTube channel. Debbie, hello. Linda, hello to you. Justin's with us. Carl. We've got Rhonda. Joey, hello. Mark, that's funny. Thanks, Mark. Larry says, hello, Matt. Our furnace went out last weekend. We called Ewing to install a new furnace and very pleased with their work. That's awesome. And again, we didn't pay Larry for that whatsoever, but thanks for that feedback, Larry. I'll pass it on to them. Phoebe, great to see you as well. Hi, Stacy. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Ginger. Okay, let's get to the forecast. I kept you long enough. I'm sorry. Here's what we're dealing with. Storm systems outbound, right? The snow has wound down. We're going to start to see some lake effect with this. I'll show you why in a second. But there's two different things to note here. This system is phasing with the system off towards the north. So it was never a real strong system as it went through. We had decent snow, right? It was pretty steady as we went throughout the day. They had pretty, I don't want to say bad, but they had travel impacts west of Chicago. Northern Illinois, central Illinois, got some good snow from this overnight into the morning hours this morning. So they had slick travel over there. They've got blowing and drifting snow tonight. Not the case here, right? They got real heavy snow down towards Kansas and areas of Missouri. Some spots picked upwards of a foot from this. But this system was big when it was there. It kind of faded as it moved through here because all that energy is going off towards the north. So the thing I want you to know here is this right here on radar. You can see some of these little bands of snow showers that have developed. Kind of this pattern change that we're getting into where this front went by and it's cold out there, but behind it, we've got another low pressure swinging in that's bringing a reinforcing shot of cold air. And this is pretty intense cold for this time of year. It really is. Tomorrow morning, it's going to feel more like 10 degrees at times when the wind is blowing. Obviously, it changes, but it's going to be chilly tomorrow morning. So I want to start with this. This isn't a map of temperatures outright. This is a map of the temperatures and how far above or below average they are. All right. So we know it's cold this time of year. It's late November. Of course it gets cold and of course it snows, right? But I just want to show you this is kind of cold air even for this time of year. So the blues are below average. All right. We know we're getting below average. Once you get into the green shading, that is when you're 10 degrees or more below average. And then when you get into some of the purples, that's 20 degrees or more below average. So here we go. I'm going to take you through time. This is tomorrow, below average air, even for this time of year across the Great Lakes. Our high temperature tomorrow is going to be on the chilly side. I mean, we're going to be probably in the upper 20s for highs tomorrow. Low temperatures tonight, dipping down low 20s. So, par for the course. And then look how the core of this cold air really moves in Tuesday. This is Tuesday afternoon right here. Notice how it's just right over the Great Lakes with temperatures some 15 to even 25 degrees or so below average. Real cold air with this. It's coming right down from just south of the North Pole. It's going to kind of move through the Great Lakes and head out towards the east. What that's going to do is it's going to kick off lake effect. And there's going to be some real heavy lake effect off of this with really relatively warm lake waters. We haven't had real cold air yet. So widespread lake effects expected, especially Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. We're going to see some places approaching maybe 1.5 to 2 feet of snow. For us, there's going to be snow ongoing up in southwest lower Michigan, but I think some of it will squeak into areas of LaPorte County as we get into mainly the latter half of the day tomorrow, but then tomorrow night and a Tuesday, we'll see. So we could be dealing with some lake effect out there. This cold air, though, as we go through the rest of the week, notice how we start to moderate. We bring above average temperatures in here briefly. That'll be ahead of our next system that could bring some rain. It's going to be a close call. And then we're back to some cooler air for the weekend until things really start to moderate as we go going into next week as it looks right now. So kind of a short-lived cool spell with this. In terms of the jet stream, here's what it's doing. We've got this big dip right here. This is that pool of cold air aloft. And then notice how as we go through time, we don't really warm up, but we don't really stay cold. We're kind of on the dividing line. So we'll have a couple storm systems that spin up. You notice how the real cold air is just off towards our north. The warmer air is still down to our south. Pattern becomes a little bit more zonal. So we kind of lose, remember we had that big ridge out west, big trough in the east here to start, and things become more zonal. So we'll have more moderate temperatures, likely a lot of 40s as we go on into next week. And then we're dealing with some sort of system to start next week. But overall, no big ridges and no big dips in the jet stream outside of this. This is probably the most extreme we're going to get weather-wise here. All right, so let's talk you through kind of where this forecast goes. Here's our system here. Here's a heavy lake effect tomorrow. And then especially tomorrow night and a Tuesday, things really going to ramp up as a little wave moves through the Great Lakes. You notice, up towards Watertown, New York, Syracuse will be getting some real heavy snow. And then you go east of Cleveland here, some pretty heavy snow expected, anywhere from 1 to 2 inches an hour in those spots. For us, though, what we're going to be watching is just that little bit of activity Monday into Tuesday. That's going to be in southwest lower Michigan. That may swing into LaPorte County, as I mentioned, sometime late Monday into Tuesday. So we'll keep our eye on that. Doesn't look to stay too long. And then we start to warm things up. There's no big systems. This is Wednesday into Thursday this week. Our next system that gets going is on the backside of a high pressure. So on Thursday, high pressure is going to slide out towards the east. We're going to have a nice warming wind coming out of the south. So we'll break out into the 40s. And then notice how the rain starts to attach to that pretty quickly. Once we get that flow out of the Gulf, that connection will really start to bring some rain in here. But the big question is, does this rain develop over us like this, or does it develop further east? The Euro has this system a little bit further off towards the east and doesn't bring us much rain later this week at all. The GFS here has it a little bit further to the west, so we are connected with that. So either way, our next rain chance is Thursday and Friday, and it will be rain at this point. We do need to keep an eye on this system. Modeling agreeing this is how it pans out. But if this is a little bit further east and we've got a little bit more of a punch of cold air coming in with it, could we get some heavy snow on the backside of the system to develop over the next couple model runs? We certainly could. So this storm needs watched. As of right now, it just looks to be a rainmaker, maybe a little wet snow at the end. But again, path is going to kind of dictate what that does. But Thursday, Friday, really the next system to watch. And then we go quiet over the weekend. It does turn a little cooler, but not bad. Still kind of mild. And then on into next week, you notice we've got some other kind of big system developing. This will change in terms of track and all this because we're a week away. But this is going to be another bigger system that's going to have a lot of moisture with it. Could we have heavy snow on the backside? Sure. But as of right now, it looks like mainly rain with that. And then as we go through time, we're now December 6th, December 7th. Notice we've got more cold air in place as the GFS. So turning colder with more lake snow again. But in terms of big storm systems, this is now up to December 13th or December 12th into the 13th. There's no big snowstorm systems to deal with over the next week and a half to 2 weeks as it looks right now. The two systems that we are going to be dealing with don't look to have a lot of heavy snow with it. We look to be on the rainy side of things, which tends to correlate with how El Niños go. Again, I don't dictate this winter based on El Niño. Things tend to change in the eastern half of the country, but El Niños do tend to perform a little bit stronger on this subtropical jet, which is coming in, which tends to bring warm air and moisture in. And that's kind of how these first couple systems have gone here to end November into the beginning of December. Okay, so that's all I've got for you. Again, we're on storm watch as we go throughout the rest of the week. We've got two storm systems to watch. Thursday, Friday is our first. The next one to watch would be next week. There's going to be some kind of system with a lot of moisture with it, and things can change quickly. That's what I love about this time of year is that the models from rain to snow, there's only a couple degree difference. So if the models change on that, we could quickly see snowstorms develop. We can quickly see snowstorms go away, right? Kind of the same. But in terms of the snow that we just got, I thought models last Sunday had a pretty good handle on it. And they handled it well with just a little bit of light to moderate snow coming through here. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I know if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, we'll get you on your way tonight. But I know it's that time of year where snow isn't necessarily a bad thing. We have a lot of region weather folks that are snowplow drivers. and they rely on this stuff, right? And a lot of us just leading up to Christmas would like some of the white stuff to go on the Christmas decor. So there's that. But I don't see any big snows here, at least over the next week. I can confidently say that. But as we get into next week, that's when it gets a little trickier. Okay. All right, so that's what I've got. I don't see any questions coming in, and that's great news. Hopefully we covered everything. I hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Back to work tomorrow, back to school tomorrow. I know it's always rough after that. I'll be back. I'm on my 6th week off from work for paternity leave, so I'll be back at it a week from tomorrow as well. And I'll tell you, I'm excited to get back, but it's going to be really tough to leave family after, just being so close to family over the last 6 weeks and getting so much time with my kids. It's been wonderful. But it's going to be interesting next week. So next Sunday night, I'm going to be kind of like first day of school feeling, going to bed at night and talking to you guys. So there's that. Maxwell, I love your point, Maxwell. We talked about this last week. He says earlier sunsets coming in 2 weeks. And that always confuses people. But the way it works, the longest day of the year, right? The day where we have the most darkness is the first day of winter. Okay. However, because of the Earth's curvature and the wobble, that's what I was told. I can't explain it myself. I'm not an astronomer, but our local astronomer here in Cleveland area explained it this way. And he said, just because because it's not a perfect orbit that we have, and the Earth's wobble and the tilt and all that stuff, the sunset times are different. They don't, on the first day of winter, the sunset doesn't start to get later and the sunrise doesn't start to get earlier. That's not how it works. Sunsets start getting later. I think it's like December 10th or 11th. All right. That's way ahead of the winter solstice. So we're almost at our earliest sunset. All right. However, the sunrises, I don't want you to get confused on this. The sunrises continue to get later until like January 1st or 2nd. And then the sunrises will start to get earlier, if that makes sense. So everything's kind of shifted a little bit. But the only thing you need to know, and trust me on this, and Maxwell on this, is that sunsets will start to get later as we get into the middle half of December on into Christmas time. Your sunset will be later. Not by much. We're talking seconds, but it does make a difference to know that our sunsets are not getting earlier. All right. So there's that. We'll eventually get our drive home back in the sunlight again. That takes some time, though. Yep, Maxwell, good point. Same thing happens around the summer solstice, right? Yeah, our latest sunsets of the year are actually all the way through early July, if I remember right. And it's the sunrises that changes. So it's super confusing. Anyway, Danielle says, having to run to Indy Saturday into Sunday for Special Olympics State Bowling Tournament, travel-wise. Let's take a look for you. We should be okay. It looks quiet this weekend, Danielle. But just to confirm, and again, this isn't always a confirmation. Looking at models, they can change. That Thursday, Friday system will be out of here. So that tells me high pressure's in here either way. So yeah, it looks great both those days. That's the GFS. Here's the Euro, just for confirmation. Let me see what the Euro does here. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Here's the Euro. It's not, the 18Z doesn't go to Saturday, so we'll go back to the 12Z here. Here we go. Okay, so here's Thursday. Here's that system. Notice how the Euro on that system keeps all that rain away. So it keeps us dry Thursday, Friday. Again, we'll see some kind of shift in that dictates that, but that's our next system to watch. And then here's your Friday, and there's your Saturday. So the Euro hangs on to maybe a little area showers back behind it. That'll probably wash out, but it looks good. It looks good for that trip down there, okay? Yeah, Brent, yeah, for sure. He says, that's funny. Anything that gives us hope to later sunsets is a good thing, even if it's just seconds. Yeah, every second counts, doesn't it, with stuff like that, for sure. All right, you're welcome, Danielle. Yeah, have a safe trip down there for sure. That sounds like a great event. All right, guys, have a wonderful night tonight. Good luck getting back at work tomorrow. I know it's always rough after a holiday, but hopefully you got to enjoy it. And we'll continue to keep an eye out for any snowstorms here in the forecast. All right, get some sleep, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.